The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Sonic Web Studios specializes in custom web design, app development, social networking, search engine optimization, domain registration, email marketing, online stores, and more. Since our birth, we have been designing and developing immaculate websites and providing web solutions which are a cut above the rest. As a leading web designing enterprise, we have a team of extremely talented web designers who are well-focused and have the experience of working on multiple web developing platforms such as PHP, Magento, Custom WordPress, and more. Sonic Web Studios has been helping businesses of all kinds, whether big, small, established, or startup, impress their audiences with exemplary web solutions. We don't just create beautiful and functional websites. We give you a complete online solution with the main goal of enhancing your yearly revenues. We aim to give your business the online exposure and brand acknowledgement that will help you in achieving increased conversions leading to profitable sales. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
It's now time for the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, iTunes, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. Mike brings you great guests and interesting people from all across the globe. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another great episode of the Mike Wagner Show.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable, custom web designs at below the competition way. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at facebook.com/the Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, Google Play, and over 25 podcast platforms. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Also follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here with a wonderful lady who's the owner of Radio Love, and she's got a number of programs on there, and she's had some tremendous experience in the Pacific Northwest, working at KSKQ, Southern Oregon PBS, KCAA Radio, Bot Radio Network, Ion TV, and a lot more. She's done some voiceover work. She's also got a blog, and she's also got a unique program where that not only that you get to be on the Radio Love Network, they also train other people and also encourages to get others in as well, too. So it's kind of like a little broadcasting school itself. And live, ladies and gentlemen, from somewhere in the beautiful Pacific Northwest, ladies and gentlemen, the owner of Radio Love, Savvy Schmidt. Savvy, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Well, thank you. Good late afternoon going into evening. I hope everybody's having a good time and sitting there with your favorite drink here in quarantine, or I guess we're not quarantining too much, but wow, thank you for that intro. I'm sitting here, from the Pacific Northwest, chilling with Bigfoot, and we just cracked open a few cold ones, and thank you. He's giving me tips on how to social distance.
Oh, you know something too? It's like you should pour me some, because I'm having coffee right now, and I just finished off my last ones over a couple of barbecues over the weekend. So I could use some right now, and if there's a way we could just do it by phone or by video or social technology, we can do that as well too, and maybe serve some to Bigfoot as well too. I'm sure he'll love it right now. So.
Oh yeah, he would. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be super awesome. It's too bad 3D printers don't have that technology to make food. Although some people, I think I've heard some people say that they can.
Really? Okay, well, I'd like to know more about it. And if it is 3D, I could use a steak right now, and I am so hungry. So, you're the owner of Radio Love, and you worked at KSKQ, Southern Oregon, PBS, KCAA Radio, the Bot Radio Network, ION TV, and more. And you also have your own network called Radio Love, and you also have programs on there called Hope for the World, the Jack and Ron Show, and also Connecting with Lisa Marie, and also Elemental Metal, just about everything under the sun. And you also got your very own Schmidt Talk as well, too. And before we get into all that, tell us how you first got started.
Oh, okay. So I first got started back in 2003, which seems like ancient history ago. And I graduated from the American Broadcasting School in Oklahoma City. And this is kind of interesting. So the Jack and Ron Show, who I'm working with them now, they were actually on the radio there for, I think, 20 years. And I actually listened to them before I got into radio, and they kind of inspired me to kind of get into radio. Mm-hmm. And here we are. So I worked for, I think it's 9 different stations. And anyway, then when I launched Radio Love back in 2013, I was still working at stations. I never really quit. I'd worked, after 2013, I took on a couple of stations here and there. I still do work with KSKQ and the ones that you mentioned, but so I've been kind of building Radio Love kind of in the background and taking my real world experience and channeling it into my own company. Mm-hmm. So that's really, really good. And so Jack and Ron were kind of in a unique situation because sometimes when stations change format or they lose part of their budget, like people get let go, and it can happen really, really fast. Mm-hmm. And so they found themselves in that situation, which is tragic because, they're award-winning radio hosts. And I reached out to them, and they decided to team up with me, and I'm super excited because I'm distributing their show, working on their sponsorship, and I've talked to a lot of celebrities, but if I ever had like a moment in time where I was excited to talk to certain celebrities, it's them because they're so impressionable with me, and I'm not going to get emotional about it, but they actually, kind of lift me up too, because like during the COVID times, I had sponsors that one by one they dropped off because, and that's understandably so because the COVID, everybody's kind of afraid and they didn't want to lose extra money and they didn't know where the business was going to go. And at that same time, the original Radio Love website, who I was hosting through Wix, and I'm going to go ahead and say their name.
You mean free advertising or not? So,
like on my sponsors?
I'm kidding about that, but go ahead with your website and more about Radio Love. We love to hear more about it. So,
okay. So to make a long story short, Wix kind of locked me out of my account when I tried to get a password reset. And fast forward, I think it's 3 months later now, they're still charging me, and I still can't get into that account, even though I've requested multiple times password resets. It's not a good customer service company. Mm-hmm. And they never upgraded me to the newer website editor, even though I had been a paying customer for a long time for the premium. And I would just not recommend them. And I'm just going to say that right now. And this is just my experience. So it's not slander. I'm just sharing my experience that I would not recommend them. And also, they don't have customer service by phone. They used to, but they don't now. So you'll try to reach out. They won't get back to you. I've had to wait till, I had to call them out on social media, which I didn't really want to do, but I got to that point where weeks would go by, and they're charging me. So just to make a long story short, I pulled my DNS name servers out of there because I own radiolove.com. And I actually had to just put it somewhere else with a different host. And I'm having to build the website completely from scratch now because I can't move the site over from there. So if you go to radiolove.com, it's radiolub.com. It's up, but it's a work in progress. Mm-hmm. So it's not the illustrious work of art that was the last site that I've been building for years. But there's enough information on there. But yeah, also during the pandemic, when we all first got on lockdown, even though I lost my sponsors, I did want to do something nice for people that wanted to get into broadcasting. And I thought, well, I've got the skills and I have the time. If somebody wanted to get a podcast going, they could ask me how to do it. And then for a limited time, I'm giving away free graphics and just little things that you need for your show. And, just to kind of help out, because I know a lot of people are struggling, and this could be a situation where you can kind of break the ice into this industry. This is what I love. Aside from my kids, this is what makes me the happiest, is helping people with their dreams and seeing something good happening from it. Because you never know, somebody can end up making a living on that, or can create jobs. I mean, that's what I love. So anyway, that's kind of what I got going. Go ahead.
It sounds like you really love what you're doing in terms of Radio Love. And how'd you come up with the name Radio Love, though?
Okay, so I wanted something easy to remember if people were listening on the radio. So when I was at school, in broadcasting school, the head instructor named Larry Gable told us, and this is kind of funny, he said, go with something easy to understand, because if a lot of people are listening in their cars, they don't have a pen and paper right there, and so the worst thing you can do is to say, go to my website at, hostgator.com/45678, Jerry's dad's mom, 107.com or something like that, because nobody's going to remember that.
Yeah.
But just have something kind of easy. I do own SavvySchmidt.com too, and SchmidtTalk.com, but I mean, who knows how to spell those names? So basically, just the easier you can make it to have a reference point, because people have really short-term memories too. And this is just easy. And besides, I love what I do, so it just seemed natural.
I think we all do. And, of course, in the words of the Geico Lizard, if you love something that you do, it's not considered work. And if you don't love what you do, you're in the wrong business. I mean, that's the best way to put it. You love what you're doing.
Yeah. It's just, making it work. And, I've had to go back and revisit the new marketing landscape, because it's somewhat getting back to normal, even though a lot of people are out of work. But there was a point in time recently where there was just sponsored gridlock, at least from what I could see. And that's, everything kind of just came to a grinding halt. And I didn't know what really the future was going to be. I just knew that, I can still keep producing the shows for as long as I could. My money was running out, and just, but where there's a will, there's a way, and I'm still going, and thankfully I'm still able to tread water and keep afloat with it all. And I still get some sponsorship money even now, so that's good, because, like I said, it's not really for the faint of heart. You kind of have to be a go-getter. I think you probably have experienced that too, because and then you get really good at it, though. You get good at talking to people. It's funny, because my own show, Schmidt Talk, has kind of taken a back seat since I've been in the producer role, because I'm tending to all the other shows, and I have some of my hosts and some other people go, you got to do your own show. You got to don't forget to do your own show. I was like, oh yeah.
Right.
But, I also have the Rogue Pulse. That's a show I do here in Medford and Ashland, Oregon, that airs on 2 stations here, and that's on every Friday. And, so I do have shows that I do, but my focus is the other shows, even though I have to keep mine going, because I need to stay relevant, because I don't want to ever have a point where I'm representing these shows and I don't want to get to where people are like, who are you? Because, I have to stay relevant when I approach people, like I said, on behalf of the shows. And so, but anyways, most of the time I'm in the production cave doing that kind of stuff, and it's rewarding.
It sounds rewarding as well, too. And if you have any questions for me as well, too, Savvy, feel free to do so. We'll talk more about Radio Love and some of the beginnings in just a minute. But first, you listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look on a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today at 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at Facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, Google Play, and over 25 podcast platforms. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Also follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here with the owner of Radio Love, Savvy Schmidt, here on the Mike Wagner Show. She's been in broadcasting since 2003, founded Radio Love in 2013. We'll talk about some of the programs in just a few minutes and going back to where you began in broadcasting. And who are some of your favorite DJs, artists, singers, musicians, and comedians growing up during your time?
Oh, gosh. Jim Carrey is hilarious. That's just like my brain automatically just goes to him with all those funny movies he did. I don't know why that stands out. Since I've been an adult, especially after I got into broadcasting, I didn't really have a chance to, pay much attention to, I know music I like and stuff like that, but to be honest, my life has moved so fast with not just working at the stations, but doing Radio Love and being a mom the whole time, that I didn't really have a lot of, still don't have a whole lot of free time to really immerse myself in many shows. Or it's just so ironic because being in this industry, I have people on my friend list that have been in The Walking Dead. I think I maybe have seen one episode.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know Siri, but I noticed that she was following me on Twitter a couple of years ago, the voice actress for her. And so that was kind of ironic because I've never had a phone that had Siri on it. I'm an Android, unless the Google voice is Siri.
Mm-hmm.
But that's ironic that she knew who I was before I knew who she was. So, my whole point was I'm kind of behind a little bit. Because
Somebody stop me!
Yeah, I don't really play that much, but I have a ton of contacts, but then I don't really know all of what they do. So it's good and bad. Mm-hmm. But I guess it's good because whenever I talk to them, I don't fangirl out or freak out. It's just, they're other industry people, and I'm just kind of okay, well, and it's just technical talk or whatever, and then later I'll find out who they are and what they did, and I'm oh, wow, okay. And so that's interesting. Yeah.
That's interesting. It almost sounds like that you may be around an entertainer or somebody famous, but then after that you're oh, they're just regular people doing a job. They just get up, get themselves ready to go to work, and then they'll come home and hug their family, friends, loved ones, their pets, go out with friends or sit in an easy chair, have a drink, and then everybody just winds down, goes to bed, and then everybody gets up the next day and do the same thing again.
That's exactly right. And it's weird because, like I said, I've talked to some famous people, and I never got the feeling okay, so if you rewound this whole thing and I was a kid back in the day and I looked at actors on TV and actors in the movies, I would be oh my gosh, they're actors, they're larger than life and stuff like that. And then as a result of what I just told you a few minutes ago, having been in the industry for almost 17 years, not knowing who half of them are,
mm-hmm.
I kind of look at them as equals, I guess. So I don't have that moment where I feel like they're not human or anything. I always feel yeah, they're going to go home and barbecue. Cool. Or yeah, they have they have to put their pants on one leg at a time like I do. But I don't even, it doesn't really come in my brain even. It's just automatically I feel like they're, like I said, equal, and
right.
I guess that's good, but
and I'm sure Jim Carrey does the same thing as well too. It's just at the end of the day, he's just a regular person. He just puts on the mask, the face, the laugh, and then come home to loved ones, hug, pets, whatever else. It's you go to bed, and it's you wake up, you're just a regular person.
And you know what? I could feel the burden of fame because I am not saying I'm famous. I'm known in certain circles, and there's different degrees of fame.
Mm-hmm.
And they never tell somebody, like, I've heard a famous person say, no one tells you when you're famous. You just start getting recognized. And anyway, my point is, I have my own fans, and it's kind of weird when you almost feel like you're under a microscope, or you're being overanalyzed or overlooked at, or it's a really weird feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so you kind of like the feeling when you get back to normal, but then you feel like there's just a weird feeling to it, because then you feel like, oh my gosh, how they like me? Like, what the, I mean, that's not like low self-esteem. That's just, it's so hard to explain. But at the same time, you're like aware that when so many people know about you,
mm-hmm.
there's also this like, gosh, if you just wanted to kind of disappear, it would be hard. It would be harder to do.
Right.
And nothing is more relevant right at this moment in time than with the whole COVID thing going on right now, because I know that there's a lot of people that just believe whatever they see on the news, and they believe a token handful of health, quote-unquote, authorities, and they're not willing to consider any other viewpoints, even though there's scientists worldwide and different people of equal caliber expertise as our quote-unquote health officials, and they just won't hear it. And so, like a month ago, I was trying to bring this all to light, and I had some of my show hosts got upset with me. They said, this isn't going to be good for the sponsors. They're not going to, and I kind of like, as much as I want everyone to keep their eyes open and make sure that we never lose our freedoms.
Mm-hmm.
And I know right there, people are going to be like, oh, that's a conspiracy theorist if you think they're trying to control us. That's a different topic. But,
well, we could probably have you on a show as well, too, talking about conspiracy theories. And, of course, I can imagine people out there nowadays, it's like, I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV, and yet people believe you're a doctor in today's society. Imagine that.
Yeah, well, I can't even, it's too much. Like, I basically spent a lot, like any free time I had outside of radio production and being a mom, I've been searching for information, and it's not actually hard to find.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the difference with people that want to just really dig deeper, or people that are fine with whatever they tell us to do. And there's also that thing going on where people are getting shunned by people who believe a certain thing, and it's just so much division. All I can say right now is that I have kind of fallen into the backdrop with that, because I do know a lot. It's not good. And my whole thing on that, and I'm going to allude to certain things, like when I do my show henceforth, because like I do have to still worry about my own reputation that I built for a long time. So I have to be really careful about what I say,
mm-hmm.
because I don't want to commit career suicide.
Right, exactly.
I'm just going to leave it at this. Or go ahead, sorry.
Right, exactly. I know what you mean. And also compared to 20 years ago when you started broadcasting, of course, CNN, Fox was really starting to take shape. Of course, ABC, CBS, NBC, and PBS were already established. And all of a sudden, you got all these outlets out here. Compared to when you started broadcasting back in 2003, fast forwarding to 2020, do you think with the expansion of broadcasting has greatly enhanced the news, or do you think it has really just distorted it more and more? And do you think we're becoming more united? We got more of this information out there, or has it come more and more divided? Or it's like, say, more together, more divided. So, compare 20 years ago, it's like, how do you see broadcasting now?
Way, way, way more divided. And here's why. The top 5 broadcasting companies are owned, bought, and paid for, and they, they're only going to do a certain narrative,
mm-hmm.
and they're censoring or shunning or publicly humiliating or whatever kind of article slander that they want to do against anybody else with a dissenting voice. And most of the people from, at least when I grew up, they still rely on the 5 big main companies, and they're not willing to listen to anybody else. Well, you got all new players in those companies, And you got a whole new landscape. It's not fair and balanced reporting anymore. It is people that are a few people at the top that are getting money. And I know this because I worked at Fox, I worked at CW, Ion Television. I'm still friends with reporters that I worked with there. And they've been telling me that they've been asked to inflate the numbers and run COVID scare stories.
Really?
Okay, so take that for what it's worth. I've told that to people a few times on social media. Once in a while, I get involved in one of the little argument threads, and I personally know people that I would trust with my shirt on my back, whatever. That's probably not a good analogy, but I know people that I've stayed close with that are telling me this, that I know they have no reason to lie to me. And I don't have any reason to lie to anybody else. Again, my career is on the line, or I own my own career, but my reputation's on the line. Why in the world would I just say something like that if I wasn't serious about it? You know, and I'm going to have one of my reporter friends come on the air with me, or it's probably going to be on one of the shows that I produce called The Peel, because I'm having to deflect all that stuff onto The Peel now, because as a responsible producer, I can't be out there, you know, with one opinion or the other opinion, because that's not responsible to my hosts. Like, I need to protect them and protect the shows. And, but anyway, I can't get into all that because it's so much, like, you know, that goes into all that. But I just want to tell people that there's a lot of information out there. It's not going to be on Facebook, or some of it leaks through on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter. But this is the first time in history that they are not allowing roundtable discussions.
I remember that. What was it? CNN roundtable. You had Fox. I think you had, what was it? ABC, CBS, NBC with their versions on Sunday morning. I used to get up and watch those a lot, and they had some interesting discussions. And, of course, you know, in radio, I listen to UPI Roundtable. They gather together and discuss the news. But you're right. It's gotten to a point now, roundtable discussions become more like roundtable mudslinging. That's what it's come out to be.
That's right. And It's not even, you know, I'm just going to say this, like, follow the money. And I know people are going to go, oh, that's just conspiracy theorist talk, whatever. No, really, follow the money. Break it down. Go to the CDC website. Look at the 7-page PDF form that they sent to all doctors that said, if a person doesn't need to be tested for COVID, if you think they have COVID, listen on the death certificate. There's a doctor that tried to run his concerns up the flagpole, and he got his license almost yanked, and he got censored off YouTube, Facebook, and everything. His name's Dr. Jensen. Wow. And you can find him, and there's over 600 doctors trying to come forward right now. And they're not able, they're not able to go on YouTube or Facebook. And I know I have a friend of mine that says, well, those are private companies. True. So they can control whatever they want people to say if they want to get their pocket money, because, you know, whoever's trying to push a vaccine. And sorry, if you're shunting out any other type of discussion, isn't it obvious that you're on an agenda? Because they're making so many holes. They're slipping. They're making holes big enough to see through now. If this was really a pandemic, people in hazmat suits would be out picking up these discarded masks out of the parking lots. Where's the drop-off points? Where's the collection points? Right. Like, it's like, come on, people, really. And so Germany and Italy are basically rebelled, and so did the UK. And if people go, oh, so all these countries are in on it, yeah, they are. So, like, the internet is only a click away. Like, it's only, all these leaders are a click away from each other. Internet shrinks the world. And but anyway, Italy and Germany are just try to find the information on the internet, because you're not going to see it on CNN or any of those stations. You're just not going to see it. This is what I'm talking about. People need to open their eyes and look and see what's going on in different parts of the world. And, like, you know, now it's like, oh, a couple got it in America, but they've been quarantining. And of course, and I'm like rolling my eyes. This is because, like, of course this would be the next thing that they say. And I'm going to tell you this right now, because I have too much information right now than to share on this one show. And I'm not even going to try to, like, share any of it. I'm going to tell you to go right now and try to find that information. But I'm also going to tell you this. This is not going to be a good winter. You better be making your plan B right now. And call me a conspiracy theorist or whatever you want to do. You better start preparing. And I'm not kidding.
Mm-hmm.
This is not going to be pretty when people start getting the flu. Guess what they're going to call it? COVID. You got it. We're in for another round of lockdowns. This is not cute or funny. And people need to start demanding accountability from our health, quote-unquote, officials and make sure that special scrutiny is applied to them for the cause that they could have a bias because they're getting money from pharmaceutical companies, which they are. Of course they don't want any other treatments or any discussions coming into the picture. If you don't see that and either your head is in the sand because you've just been watching TV and not doing any research, you're going to all these, quote unquote big research. One of them has the last name Hopkins. I'm not going to try to name names here.
Uh-huh.
If you're just going to these sites, follow the money. They're all getting kickback money from Bill Gates.
Mm-hmm.
You got to follow that lead.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say this. There's two kinds of people. Those people that think the government cares about them and people that think.
Uh-huh. And of course, I think you're pretty much hit on the head. We'll talk about some of your programs in just a minute. But first, listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at SonicWebStudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at Facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, Google Play, and over 25 podcast platforms. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Also follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here with the owner of Radio Love, Savvy Schmidt, who worked at KSKQ, Southern Oregon PBS, KCAA Radio, and more here on the Mike Wagner Show. We talked about some of the issues that go on, and especially on some of our programs like Schmidt Talk, The Peel, and more as well, too. You also got some really good programs on Radio Love. You got Hope for the World. Of course, you got the Jack and Ron Show, which you got influenced by, Clint's Mom's Basement, connecting Lisa Marie, and more. And maybe you can just tell us about some of your great programs on Radio Love.
So I knew like a few years ago, I think it was about 5 years ago, when I first started Radio Love, I was doing a lot of like commercial production and just stuff like that. And then I felt like I was being a commercial mill, and it was very, very taxing. Or it was more like 7 years ago. And so I knew like I wanted to be deliberate and do something. I was switching gears. I didn't want to do that anymore, except for like the sponsors will make commercials and stuff. But I'm kind of over that, done that, and then I decided, okay, I'm going to make shows, and I put out casting calls. And altogether, just cumulatively since that time and now, we've got 18 shows. Only, well, some of them are not produced by me. I think like 5 of them are original productions. But the rest of them are produced other places and distributed by me, and sometimes I'll do some graphics for them and stuff like that. But, yeah, so, but like Clint, that's kind of funny because Clint approached me and he wanted to do a radio show. I'm talking about Clint Hancock. And he, basically said that we didn't really know what he was going to do, because when I was searching for show hosts, I was looking for people that had like a niche, like, okay, is your show going to be about pets? Is it going to be about, horses, whatever. If you just pick like a one niche, it's easier for me to get sponsors for that show rather than like a general variety show.
Mm-hmm.
And then so after Clint and I were corresponding for a couple of years, he said, well, I can talk about video games, comic books. And I go, okay, wow, the light bulb came on in my head. I said, okay, don't get offended by this. I'd like to call your show Clint's Mom's Basement. And that's how that was born. So now his show's been on, I think, 2 years now. It took us a while to kind of, I can't roll them out all at once because, balancing that with my other station work and being a mom, I haven't had 100% attention to devote to all of them at the same time. Like, there's so many moving parts that, like, it's hard to, like, put that level of attention. So, like, rolling them out one by one was a lot more helpful. And right now we're about to roll out the Peel with Billy. We're going to put his last name as Peel because he's going to be anonymous. There's not his job as it is like kind of dangerous, and he's going to be uncovering some stuff that, yeah. Anyway,
very appealing.
That we've got coming on.
Very appealing. Have to say that.
Yes. And then connecting with Lisa Marie. Lisa Marie is actually known as the Crock-Pot Mom, and she's got a blog with over 1 million followers, and she has a lot of celebrities on her show, and that's really exciting. And you know, if you just go to radiolove.com, you'll go to the programming page, and you can see all the shows that are there. And some of them are still pending. You'll see all those.
Mm-hmm. You also got some music as well, too. You got Elemental Metal, the GF6 show, and a lot more as well, too. And, of course, you welcome all kinds of music. And also another thing, too, that, once again, if anyone is interested in getting on Radio Love with a show, how do they do that?
Just reach out and email me. You can email radioloveworldwide@gmail.com, or just go to the website. There should be a contact page there, and just reach out and let me know, and should be able to help you out. And I do help shows get sponsors, and you can find out more information about that. You know, just sometimes shows are starting from scratch, or you have an already established show. Let me know what kind of, if you're just starting from scratch, it's going to be a little bit harder to get sponsors, because the two things sponsors look for right now are either the size of your audience or your audience, the engagement. Do you have engaged people? Mm-hmm. And but certainly I can help you get on that track to start building you up to that point, because Rome wasn't built in a day.
Right, exactly.
And yeah, it's going to take a little time, unfortunately, unless somebody has a big budget and they wanted to pay for their own advertising for their show. You know, you can grow your numbers pretty quickly if you have all the ingredients that go into what people want to see and hear or whatever. If it's catchy and you're talented and all that, yeah, there's different ways that you can attract listeners. And, you know, just, I can help you develop that part of you. Like Billy, when I met Billy years ago, he had a radio show on Radio Love that was not the Peel. And then I brainstormed his idea when he and I and a colleague of mine from Fox all got together for breakfast one day, and I completely switched gears, because I was like, Billy, it was weird. You can kind of feel the energy in the room from the idea that came on. Mm-hmm. And it was you know, I was like, okay, we switched gears, but I don't know where I was going with that. Anyways, and sometimes magic happens.
Right. And where can we find your website at?
Radiolove.com. It's radioluv.com, or radiolove.net. Radioluv.net.
All right. Once again, owner of Radio Love, Savvy Schmidt here on the Mike Wagner Show. A very big thank you for your time. You've been fantastic. And just a couple more things. What do you have coming up for us? What can we expect from you in 2020, 2021, and beyond?
Well, if I live through 2020, I'm just kidding. Well, this has been such an uncertain year. I think if anybody's like me, we're holding our breath. So basically, I'm going to grow the shows. I'm not really doing any more original programs right now. I mean, aside from the ones that are on the page, but like I said, if you've got a podcast you want some help with, I can help you draw out your game plan. And you know, I'm always available for help with questions. But I look forward to Radio Love in general growing. We're going to be syndicating a lot of the shows around the country, and you know, getting on some bigger sponsors. It's an exciting time. In fact, you probably won't hear from me a lot during that time, because I'm going to be doing a lot of work. It's a lot of work to get this 747 in the air. Mm-hmm.
And that sounds amazing. You've got a great product out there. And who do you consider biggest influence in your career?
Well, my brain's not on today, but the two that come to mind are Jack and Ron. Like I said, they influenced me a long time ago. And yeah, Howard Stern's a funny guy. I I'm not saying he was why I went into radio, but he's been kind of a funny influence. When he kind of went away from, like, talking to girls and having their clothes taken off, if like, you go around the content that he's actually funny, because that stuff to me is kind of boring. But if you go, like, to, if you watch Private Parts, his movie, that's hilarious, because, like, I'm kind of dealing with that right now with a station I'm on. One of the stations I'm on, I'm not going to mention their name, but they're so scared I'm going to say something on the air that I shouldn't say. And I'm like, oh my God, I've been doing this a long time. I've been doing this longer than a lot of those people have been in their positions. I mean, I know how to, like, toe the line with the FCC, like, not making sure I'm not violating. I go right under that limo pole. but anyway.
That sounds fantastic as well. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
That somebody that wants to get into broadcasting?
It can be anything. Get into broadcasting or just in general or whatever comes to mind. What's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
I would say hang in there and know your power. Know your power, and knowledge is power. And and a lot of people, like, think that maybe I sound kind of heady for, like, the opinions I have. I got to that point when I knew, like, there's more than substantial enough evidence to affect my opinion after careful research. And so I'm going to say, like I said, knowledge is power. You're powerful. Hang in there, and you don't have to deal with a life situation that you don't want to be in. You can always change it. But we have to, I would do it really, really, really soon. Because a couple of months from now, it's going to be a completely different landscape in a few months. Okay? I'm really telling you now, this is my final, like, I'm not going to say warning. This is a pay attention.
We are paying attention, yes.
Gnarly. Yeah. It's not going to be good. So
right.
Prepare.
Yes, we are prepared. Once again, Savvy Schmidt, owner of Radio Love here on the Mike Wagner Show. Savvy, a very big thank you for your time. You've been fantastic. Looking forward to hearing again soon. Once again, tell us about your upcoming projects. What's your website? How do people contact you? Where can people check out your radio shows or your network or more information about you?
You can just find me on radiolove.com, or you can find me on facebook.com/SchmidtTalker. Twitter.com/SchmidtTalker. I also have my Savvy Schmidt official page on Facebook at Savvy Schmidt, or Facebook.com/Savvy Schmidt official, on Instagram.com/Savvy Schmidt, and wherever fine podcasts are found.
Very good. Once again, Savvy, a very big thank you for your time. You've been fantastic. Learned a lot from you. Looking forward to hearing again soon. Do us a favor. Keep us up to date. We'll have you back in 2020, 2021, and beyond, and keep us up to date. You've been great.
Thank you. Yeah, I got to get back to Bigfoot. He's getting a little impatient. He said he's got my next beer ready. So.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Sonic Web Studios specializes in custom web design, app development, social networking, search engine optimization, domain registration, email marketing, online stores, and more. Since our birth, we have been designing and developing immaculate websites and providing web solutions which are a cut above the rest. As a leading web designing enterprise, we have a team of extremely talented web designers who are well-focused and have the experience of working on multiple web developing platforms such as PHP, Magento, custom WordPress, and more. Sonic Web Studios has been helping businesses of all kinds, whether big, small, established, or startup, impress their audiences with exemplary web solutions. We don't just create beautiful and functional websites. We give you a complete online solution with the main goal of enhancing your yearly revenues. We aim to give your business the online exposure and brand acknowledgement that will help you in achieving increased conversions leading to profitable sales. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Thanks for listening to the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Please support our program with your donations at themikewagnershow.com. Join us again next time for another great episode of The Mike Wagner Show.